What if I told you that every dollar in your bank account is being used against you, that the money you think is safely tucked away is actually funding your own financial destruction? That banks have turned your deposits into weapons of wealth. Extraction. You're about to discover the most sinister conspiracy in modern finance. A system so evil, so calculated that it makes the mafia look like saints. This is how banks are secretly manipulating your money and destroying your future in the process. Meet David, a construction worker from Texas. He deposits his $3,000 paycheck every 2 weeks, keeps $15,000 in his savings account for emergencies, like a responsible person. But what David doesn't know is horrifying. His bank is using his money to bet against him, to fund his own poverty, to ensure he stays broke forever. Here's how they do it. The moment you deposit money, it's not yours anymore. It belongs to the bank. Legally, you become an unsecured creditor. That means if the bank fails, you're last in line to get paid. After bondholders, after shareholders, after executives get their bonuses. You get nothing, but it gets worse, much worse. Your bank takes your $15,000 and lends it to 10 different people. That's right, they create $150,000 out of thin air, using your $15,000 as backing. This is called fractional reserve banking, and it's completely legal theft. They pay you 0.1% interest on your money, while charging borrowers 8% to 25% on money that didn't exist until they created it. From your deposit, you're funding their profits. With your own money. Let me show you something that will make your blood boil. Bank of America made $32 billion in profit last year. J.P. Morgan Chase made $49 billion. Wells Fargo made $15 billion. Where did this money come from? From you, your deposits, your fees, your financial slavery. But here's the most evil part. They use your money to buy the very assets that price you out of prosperity. Real estate. Stocks, bonds, government debt. They're buying your future. With your own money, and selling it back to you at inflated prices. Let me tell you about the overdraft scam. Sarah, a single mom from Ohio, had $50 in her account. She bought groceries for $47, then coffee for $4. Her account went negative by $1. The bank charged her a $35 overdraft fee for borrowing $1. That's a 3,500% interest rate. Annualized, it gets worse. The bank then reordered her transactions, putting the largest purchase first. To maximize overdraft fees, Sarah ended up paying $105 in fees on a $1 overdraft. This happens 1.5 billion times per year. Banks make $11 billion annually from overdraft fees alone, from people who have no money. It's predatory lending, disguised as customer service. Here's another secret weapon they use against you. Credit scores. You think it's about measuring your creditworthiness. It's not. It's about creating artificial scarcity, to charge you higher rates. The algorithm is designed to keep you in debt. Miss one payment, your score drops 100 points. Pay off all your debt, your score drops because you have no active credit. Close an old credit card, score drops. Apply for new credit, score drops. The game is rigged to keep you borrowing forever, at maximum interest rates. But wait until you hear about this. Banks are manipulating interest rates through something called LIBOR, the London Interbank Offered Rate. It affects trillions of dollars in loans, mortgages, credit cards, business loans, everything. In 2012, it came out that banks were fixing LIBOR for over a decade to increase their profits at your expense. They paid $9 billion in fines, but made hundreds of billions in illegal profits. Crime does pay. If you're a bank. Here's something even more sinister. Banks create money out of nothing. When you get a mortgage, they don't lend you existing money. They create new money, digital entries on a computer, but you have to pay it back with real money, plus interest. For 30 years, they create fake money. You pay back real money. It's counterfeiting, but legal when banks do it. Let me show you the deposit multiplication scam. You deposit $1,000. The bank keeps $100 as reserves, lends out $900 to someone else. That person deposits $900 in another account. That bank keeps $90, lends out $810, and so on. Your original $1,000 becomes $10,000 in the system, all backed by your single deposit. 9/10 of the money supply is fake, created by banks, from thin air, but you're on the hook for all of it. Principal plus interest. Here's the most shocking revelation of all. Banks don't actually have your money. When you check your balance online, you see numbers. But those are just accounting entries, digital promises, IOUs. If everyone tried to withdraw their money at once, banks would collapse. They only keep 3% to 10% of deposits in reserve. The rest is lent out. Invested, gambled. Your money doesn't exist. It's a confidence game, and your confidence is their profit. Remember 2008? Banks gambled with depositor money. Lost everything. Got bailed out by taxpayers. Kept their bonuses. Foreclosed on millions of homes. Destroyed families. Ruined lives, and nothing changed. They're still gambling. With your money. Right now. Deutsche Bank has $47 trillion in derivatives exposure. That's 20 times Germany's GDP. JP Morgan has $54 trillion. Bank of America has $21 trillion. When these bets go bad, who pays? You do through bailouts, inflation, and economic collapse. Your deposits fund their casino. Your taxes cover their losses. You get nothing but financial ruin. Here's how they manipulate currency markets. Banks trade currencies 24 hours a day. Moving exchange rates up and down. They know which way rates are going because they're moving them. Then they trade ahead of their own customers. It's called front running, and it's perfectly legal. For banks, you want to exchange dollars for euros, they'll give you a terrible rate, while making millions on the spread. Your vacation costs more. Their profits soar, but the most evil manipulation of all is inflation. Banks lobby for money printing, because new money flows to them first. They buy assets before prices rise. Real estate, stocks, commodities. By the time inflation reaches you, they've already profited. You get higher prices. They get higher asset values. Inflation is a wealth transfer, from you to them, hidden in plain sight. Let me tell you about negative interest rates. In Europe, banks charge you to hold your money. That's right, you pay them to store your deposits, while they lend your money to others. At positive rates. You pay coming and going, and they call it banking innovation. It's coming to America. Sooner than you think. Here's the credit card con game. Banks issue cards with 29.99% interest rates, but pay 0. 1% on deposits. They're borrowing your money at 0.1%, lending it back to you at 30%, a 29.9% spread, pure profit. From your own money, it's financial cannibalism, and you're the meal. But here's what they're most afraid of. You finding out and pulling your money out. Moving to credit unions. Using cash. Buying Bitcoin. Storing precious metals. Banking with community banks. Their entire scam depends on your ignorance. your compliance, your deposits. Without you, they have nothing. Let me tell you what happened to someone who fought back. Tom, a small business owner from Colorado, he discovered these secrets, pulled his money from big banks, used a credit union for basic services, kept cash for daily expenses, bought gold and silver, invested in Bitcoin, started his own private lending business. Now he makes money instead of being robbed. He escaped the matrix. You can too. Here's how to protect yourself. First, minimize bank deposits. Keep only what you need for monthly expenses. Move the rest to credit unions. They're owned by members, not shareholders. Second, use cash whenever possible. Every digital transaction feeds their data machine. Cash is private, anonymous, free. Third, buy hard assets. Gold, silver, land, Bitcoin. Things they can't print, can't manipulate, can't steal. Fourth, avoid debt like poison. Every loan makes you their slave. Pay cash or don't buy it. Financial freedom requires discipline. Fifth, educate others. Share this truth. Wake people up. The system depends on mass ignorance. Knowledge is their kryptonite. The banking cartel has controlled money for centuries, but their reign is ending. Technology is making them obsolete. Cryptocurrency. Decentralized finance. Peer-to-peer lending. Digital gold. The future doesn't need banks, and they know it. That's why they're fighting so hard. Buying politicians. Funding propaganda. Spreading fear about alternatives. They're desperate. Because their time is up. The question is simple. Will you be part of the problem or part of the solution? Will you keep funding your own oppression or will you break free? The choice is yours. But choose quickly. Because every day you delay is another day they steal from your future. Your children's future. Your freedom. The bank robbery is happening right now, and you're both the victim and the accomplice. Unless you wake up and fight back. The revolution starts with you, one withdrawal at a time.